Heal the world.
How about you heal this, you planetary pain in the ass?
Asteroid get you?
No, a hemorrhoid did.
Talk about a pain in the ass.
Your pal Elon's rocket did this.
Talk about a pain in the ass.
Tell your kids to stop shooting random into space.
Like what?
Space stations, Bezos' penis rocket, Katy Perry.
The kids gotta get it out of their system.
I'd like to get you out of the system.
It's being considered.
Excuse me, Big Red, who imploded and made you head of the HOA? You know you still have 2 rovers roaming my property.
I'll send someone right over.
You're the fucking worst.
Talk about a pain in...
Uranus! I wish we could just throw you in a black hole.
You know what else has a black hole?
Uranus! I'm done! I need to find a new fucking planet.
He'll be back. I'm his entire world.
Welcome to the OG community, where curiosity is encouraged and questions are explored. Here, we look at hidden history, symbolism, world events, and mysteries that make people stop and think. In today's banger, we got another. Why is Elon shooting rockets at the moon? What is he really up to? But before we get into this video, let's make sure everybody stopping through is hitting that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification so the videos can come straight to you. And for my day one OG representatives, let's make sure we hyping these videos up where we can and smashing that like button. Well, without further ado, let's get into this video.
Elon Musk's SpaceX blew the f up. Like, the explosion is crazy. Elon Musk has always been confident about his space technology.
I really think that that my technology is going to get us to be able to go to Mars. I believe that I'm going to get a man on Mars. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, technology. I really think that you know, they've tried to go to different places, and I think that I'll probably be the first one. You know, Richard Branson, he tried, but he failed miserably, and I just think that I'm the man that is going to be able to get us to Mars and other parts of this solar system. You know, you have different planets. You know, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. I believe I can get to all of them simultaneously. That's what I believe. Yeah. Listen, all of this shit that's happening really makes me doubt the moon landing. Listen, I'm not getting into conspiracies, but I'm like, you know what I mean? Because how come we can't get there now? With the technology we have now, we can't get there. We should be going to the moon like on a regular, like, yo, about to go to the moon, got to do that. Then I'm going to go hit Starbucks. Then I got to go to the gym. We haven't. And we went in 1969, July 20th, 1969. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and whatever went to the moon with those little rockets. And them rockets back then, compared to now, were trash. And they went, just makes you scratch your chin. But I never wish anything on anybody. It's up that it exploded. But Elon Musk, man, I think it's a wrap, bro. I mean, you know, you left the Trump administration, you know, all of that. And you know Trump is going to get in your ass. He's going to be like, did you see the rocket? Boy, he's so bad. He's trying to go to Mars. He's trying to go to Mars. It's so bad. You have the worst rockets I've ever seen in your life. If I would have had a rocket, Trump rockets would have made it to all of the planets. It would have made it to Pluto. It's so bad. You should be ashamed of yourself. You have the worst rockets. Everything explodes, just like the administration, just like your attitude is so bad. You are SpaceX because you're done.
So since no one's going to say it, I'm going to say it. They crashed their rocket into the moon to get to those people that are inside the moon, with those beams that are inside the moon. Because you know that everybody who says that they astral projected to the moon, they say they saw the beams that were inside. Now, the beams that I seen, they had on headphones. Y'all know those headphones and Oops, I Did It Again. Britney Spears, Mandela Effect, the headphones that disappeared, the little microphone. Those were the type of headphones they had on, bitch. I was floating in space. What the? Y'all with this astral projection, y'all gotta be careful. Bitch, I was floating in space, y'all, and I floated into this moon. to the moon that's supposed to be over us. And when I got to it, it opened. It opened up, and you know, I'm brown skinned. we don't play that. So when it opened up, I looked. I didn't go to it because I'm scared. I looked, and there are beings like shadow people beings, like they're beings with headphones, microphone sets on. They're typing. It's when I say being, I mean like an entire. The moon is a whole goddamn circle, or whatever you want to call it, sphere, whatever. Bitch, they was around the whole thing like a coliseum or something. They were in the bitch. They was like working, and I'm like, what the fuck am I seeing? And next thing you know, boom. When they seen me, the door thing, the whatever opened up, closed, and something pushed me back down to here. And now I'm here, and my arm was hurting like hell for a whole week, like I had been into some battle in space. That's crazy, right? That's what they did to that rocket. They try to get them people at the moon. They're trying to see what's in there, but we know what's in there.
That SpaceX rockets go horizontally? What's up with that? Space is supposedly up. Why would you go over? Not to mention all the NASA rockets. Do you see how they go? You know, like they're not really going anywhere. They're just going up and coming back down. All of them. I wonder if it's because they can't get to space. You know, like biblical cosmology says how there's an impenetrable dome called the firmament above us where the moon and the stars actually are. And don't let me lose you because I'm talking about the Bible. Believe me, I thought the Bible was nonsense for most of my life as well. But then a funny thing happened. I started paying attention to the heavens above. And I started noticing things that didn't match their story, like how the moon, that's supposedly 238,000 miles away, seemed just about the same distance as stars that were supposedly trillions of miles away, and planets supposedly millions of miles away. My camera zooms in on the same level, and they all seem to be right there, not trillions of miles away.
I'm telling you folks, it never fails. If I do a video about space, there will be comments, and usually a lot of comments, that space isn't real, every time. You know, just in the last couple days, I posted a video about that SpaceX rocket hitting the moon. And people are telling me it's fake. Not because a rocket hit the moon, because we can't get to the moon, because either the moon doesn't exist, or the firmament stops it, you know, because we live in a dome. But it's just one of those things that I absolutely love, and I usually get ready for when I...
And that is the big question. So it's been all over the news showing this SpaceX rocket hitting the moon. But is it really hitting the moon? If the firmament is over us, how are they actually hitting the moon? It's a good question. That's what I'm saying. I'm just bringing you guys some of the information and some of the clips, so that way we can discuss it here at the OG community and kind of determine what we also think about it. Guys, make sure you're leaving your comments down below. Let's get back into this one.
Do a video about space because I'm gonna enjoy those comments every time. You know, it's because they go all over the place. Some of them say that the government is hiding space from us, or what's actually in space, or that space isn't real at all, or some of the crazy ones that the ocean is actually space. I don't know how that one works, but that's true, apparently. And then you have super religious people who say that there's actually things in the Bible that says a firmament exists in the sky, and so the Bible says that the earth is flat, or that we live in a dome, or something like that. You know, but I just did a video about space junk, and about a piece of a rocket hitting the moon, and then you get people saying space isn't real. Every time, folks. Every time.
Everyone at rocket stage is about to slam into the moon at roughly 7 times the speed of sound. It all started more than a year ago when a SpaceX mission launched 2 lunar landers, and one of them successfully reached the lunar surface. When people talk about SpaceX landing rockets, they're usually referring to the reusable booster. But this is the upper stage, the section that continued into deep space after releasing the landers. On missions that stay in low Earth orbit, like satellite launches, the upper stage keeps enough propellant to re-enter Earth's atmosphere and burn up safely. Deep space missions are different. They consume nearly all of that fuel just to escape Earth's gravity, leaving the empty stage drifting in an unstable orbit. And this isn't unique to SpaceX. Upper stages from NASA, China, and other space agencies have also ended up crashing into the moon. This impact is expected to release energy comparable to about 3 tons of TNT and leave behind a crater as wide as 30 meters.
Did you all see a rocket crashed into the moon? Yeah, one of Elon Musk's SpaceX rockets. This just happened, and it was planned. Yeah, for some reason, SpaceX planned to crash one of their rockets into the moon. And South Korea got images of the whole thing. Before I continue, why are the powers to be always doing strange stuff like this? This can't just be a coincidence or a waste of time. Do they know something we don't? 'Cause that SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket plowed into the moon on Wednesday. And then Thursday, the images were released. You can see here about where they say that rocket collided with the moon. And this thing was sent off from Earth in early January of 2025. Now, I don't want to know so much about how it crashed or where it crashed. I want to know why they did it at all. Is this some weird experiment, or is something else going on that they don't want the public to know? Tell me your opinion in the comment section, Booskies. Shabadoo.
What you're watching looks like a rocket crash, but this is actually one of Starship's biggest victories. This is Starship Flight 13, and after traveling halfway around the planet, the spacecraft came down in the Indian Ocean. But instead of exploding on impact like previous ocean splashdowns, Starship remained largely intact and actually stayed floating on the surface. That gave SpaceX something incredibly valuable: a close-up look at the spacecraft after surviving atmospheric re-entry, including its heat shield. And those heat shield tiles had just endured temperatures reaching roughly 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. So this wasn't just a splashdown, it was a major test of whether Starship can survive the journey to space and come back. Flight 13 did indeed splash down intact in the Indian Ocean, and the surviving vehicle allowed SpaceX to gather unusually detailed imagery of the heat shield. And that's what makes this footage so incredible. A massive Starship traveling through space at extraordinary speeds, returning through Earth's atmosphere, and ending its journey in the middle of the ocean, all captured from a completely different perspective.
So today a piece of a SpaceX rocket collided into the moon, and not a lot of news outlets are covering it, but I want to talk about it a little bit. For one, people tell me don't worry about it too much, it just caused a little bit of a crater on the moon, it's full of craters anyway, so why do you really care? For one reason I care is because if I throw something out the window of my car and the cops see it, I'm getting a ticket for littering, but these idiot billionaires can launch stuff into space and it just floats all over the place and then collides into the moon. And this one collided into the moon, but what's to stop all this random space junk and debris from changing course and then crashing into the Earth? And y'all should look into space trash, because it's actually a bigger problem than they make it out to be. There's a lot of stuff floating around up there. Space trash is another good name for these billionaire cosplay astronauts. Because if one of these crashed into a neighborhood and not just into a random crater on the moon, people would be talking about it a lot more. But instead, we're just letting billionaires launch stuff into space like they're child astronauts because, they have all the money in the world to do that. You're struggling to pay your bills and put gas in your car, but they get to wear their fancy little space suits and look at their rockets launch into the sky. And I'm just saying, people, this did crash into the moon, but what happens if one crashed into the Earth? Are we just gonna ignore it and just say, oh, it was just another space debris? I know there's a bunch of billionaire cooks out there that would completely just, ignore the fact that something crashed into the moon because their rich little space boy that they love so much, it was their rocket, so it's fine. But, yeah, a rocket did crash into the moon today.
I regret to inform you that we actually have, in fact, intentionally crashed things into the moon before for science. Back in 2009, we crashed this spacecraft, L-Cross, into the moon, and still to this day it remains one of the most valuable data sets we have about the lunar surface. Did you know that the moon has a water cycle? That's something we learned from this mission. Now, that mission cost $79 million back in the early 2000s. Yesterday, for the very low price of free $99, scientists and engineers got yet another data source to study how things impact the moon. One reason we care to learn about that is because this was unintentional. And so that could happen again in the future when we actually have people living and working on the moon. Another reason we might care about it is because the moon is actively bombarded with meteoroids all the time. Any impact on the lunar surface sends the lunar soil and the lunar rocks literally everywhere. We don't really understand how that behaves. And actually sometimes the rocks can be sped up so fast that they just escape the moon. So am I advocating for the moon to become our cosmic trash can? No, absolutely not. Again, this was very unintentional. The universe had a mind of its own here with solar activity and gravitational forces at play. But what I am advocating for is nuanced conversation. Not everything is doom and gloom or cause for mass panic as much as our headlines and algorithms would love for us to feel. By the way, this is not real. This is AI. Just stop sharing it, please.
Let's watch the most recent SpaceX rocket launch. And at the end, I want you to tell me if you really think these rockets are going to outer space. Check it out. Takes off nice and strong, fire thrusting out the tail end. It's like, man, this rocket is really going to go to outer space. Or is it? Because we know what the Bible tells us, how God created the heaven and the earth and placed a firmament over the earth, waters above. Keep watching. You know, you have to really give them props though. They keep trying to break through this firmament. Doesn't ever really seem like it works though. Once again, these are my theories. I believe what the Bible says. You guys believe what you want. I'm just trying to show you what looks like a rocket breaking through the firmament, or at least trying to.
So what do you guys think? Do y'all believe that there is a firmament, or do you believe we can actually get into outer space? I know everybody's going to have their own opinion. You know, this isn't the cause of argument or guys going back and forth, but it's just a discussion about who believes what. Because like I said here, we discuss everything in the OG community. Some people may believe one thing, some people may believe the other. And it's okay to have your own beliefs and believe what you want to believe. So the truth is, the question is, do you believe we can get into outer space? Or do you believe the firmament will stop us? This is something I want to know. Who believes what? Because right now, it is in the news about this SpaceX rocket hitting the moon. What do you guys think? Let's get back into this video.
All right, check it out. Here we are. We're getting close. And we're almost there. Look, what happened? It stopped. And it blew up. It hit the waters above, not going any further. What's that look like to you?
What's that? Oh, a SpaceX rocket just crashed into the moon, going about 7 times faster than the speed of sound. That's awesome. Tell me more! This is a super interesting story because the Falcon 9 from about last year crashed into the moon, creating a new crater in the moon. And this is all being told from scientists that have been observing the moon and all the activity going on and things of that nature. And they said they did see the plume of smoke come up, or debris and all this stuff come up after the crash. And it was traveling roughly about 5,000 miles per hour when it hit. Now, of course, this wasn't the full entire rocket of Falcon 9. Basically, it was part of the rocket after it had been shot up into the air last year. And a portion of it was just kind of abandoned up there in space. It's just kind of been floating around for like the past year or so. But eventually it kind of started getting onto a particular track where it started heading towards the moon, picked up some speed and such, and then got up to about 5,000 miles per hour to where then it hit the moon. And now that debris that popped up into the air from the impact is now floating around in space. Oh, goody.
The moon rings like a bell for hours after every impact because it's not a natural rock, but a hollow alien megastructure spying on Earth. Declassified Apollo data proves it. Seismometers captured vibrations echoing through a vast internal cavity, not damping in solid stone. The moon's density, just 3.34 grams per cubic centimeter, matches a lightweight metallic shell, only 50 kilometers thick over emptiness spanning thousands of kilometers. Its orbit, perfectly circular, tidally locked, an artificial feat no random rock could achieve. Craters never plunge deeper than 4 kilometers. their metallic glint betraying a resilient engineered crust that shields the core. Radar scans reveal electromagnetic pulses and glowing azure conduits inside, where disc-shaped craft dock at equatorial ports amid geodesic arches and sprawling platforms. This surveillance base, positioned eons ago, commands our skies. And as it rings, the moon watches us still.
Elon Musk rockets accidentally hit the moon. I mean, how do you accidentally send a rocket at the moon? It wasn't really an accident, but that's what they're going to tell us, because they know that's what we want to believe. Whatever come on the TV and the newspapers, we believe it. But this is not the first time this happened. In 1972, they was doing the NASA Apollo program. They sent a rocket or a missile to hit the moon. And when it hit the moon, you know what happened? The moon started ringing like a bell. I mean, is the moon really a bell? Because it damn sure was ringing like one. But before we go deeper, we must understand what the moon is. They call it Earth Natural Satellite. It's not really natural, but it really is a satellite. A rocky, airless body that orbits our planet. Or I should say, controls our planet. So when they say this SpaceX rocket was an accident, nah, it was on purpose. They are trying to change the frequency of our planet. The moon operates on a 210 hertz. This frequency falls so low in mid-range that it plays frequencies and we can't hear it. Remember, they say life is just a stage. Or I should say, it's a movie. And we are being controlled by the background music. We can't hear it, but it's controlling us. The 210 frequency from the moon is playing background music, like in a movie or a motion picture. The moon controls water or currency. Money is currency, but we call it notes. And we are being controlled by the music notes. Elon Musk, they did this shit on purpose.
Above us. So everything is as above, so below. Obviously, many people are becoming aware that there's a firmament above that many people are now starting to realize is impenetrable.
No matter what you do, you can't go straight up in the air and keep going.
An interesting rocket launch was the amateur Go Fast rocket. They gave us something that NASA and SpaceX never gives us, an uninterrupted feed from their camera. If you watch a NASA launch or a SpaceX launch, there's 4.
So if we really can't get out, we can't shoot a rocket out of the firmament, why? What would be the point of the news about this SpaceX rocket hitting the moon and the debris that comes off the moon? And we don't actually know what it could actually happen, whether this debris could hit floating rocks, which then knock them off course, which then send that hurling towards Earth, which then could create a huge natural disaster. We don't know any of this stuff. We're just playing around with stuff. That's how we're destroying our own planet, because we like to play around and test. For what? If it's not making things better, it shouldn't be allowed. Everything should be making progress, should make things better, not make things worse. Not allow a few people to hoard all the resources and then dish it out as they please to the people. Let's get back into this.
4, 5, 6 cuts before it even clears the launch pad. Gave us an uninterrupted 72 miles, I think. Went up, and all of a sudden it went kerplunk. It hit something.
It went up, and it appears to have hit the firmament.
One thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth.
There's no place to...
Elon Musk's rocket just crashed into the moon, but could the lunar debris created by the impact seriously threaten Earth's safety? A part of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket was left drifting in space after completing its mission. Over time, its orbit changed, and it was eventually pulled closer to the moon by lunar gravity. In the end, the roughly 4-ton rocket piece slammed into the moon's surface at thousands of miles per hour, creating a new crater and sending a huge amount of lunar debris into space. The real question is, could this lunar debris eventually become a danger to Earth? Please leave your thoughts in the comments.
Watch this video.
Yeah,
okay, watch this. A SpaceX rocket crashed into the moon, leaving a 100-foot crater. Okay, pretty good-looking video right there.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a nice movie by Ridley Scott.
Yeah, no video footage of the SpaceX rocket impact exists, as it was not visually observed. The crash is confirmed only by tracking data, and the crater has not yet been imaged. So they created this video to say if it would have happened, this is what it would have looked like.
Firmament to me. It's like a temporary portal opens up.
A piece of a SpaceX rocket has been drifting around with no fuel for over a year now, and in just a few days, it is literally about to crash into the moon. So the rocket launched out of Kennedy Space Center in January of last year, carrying 2 private landers to the moon. Once it dropped them off, there was no fuel left to bring it back, so the top half of it has just been looping around out in the middle of space ever since. They're saying right now that this rocket is officially hitting the moon next Wednesday at 2:34 in the morning Eastern Time near a crater that's called Einstein right on the edge of the moon. They're saying that it's almost 11,000 pounds coming in at 5,400 miles per hour, which is going to be about 3 tons of TNT, and it's going to blow out a fresh crater that's 100 feet wide. Scientists have actually never been able to record an impact flash on the lit side of the moon, so they're all pointing their telescopes at it this time. People have already bet over $90,000 right now on Kalshi for whether or not Blue Origin or SpaceX will land on the moon first. But my real question is, does this count? I will obviously post the footage the second that anybody actually gets it, so make sure you add me if you don't want to miss that.
So my question is, how can you operate a lid on the outside of the space station by manipulating something mechanical on the inside of the space station without losing air pressure?
It's called real good engineering.
And then Falcon 1, and we really had no idea at the start of SpaceX how to actually make rockets. And obviously we blew up a rocket 3 times before finally reaching orbit. It looks almost really cute at this point. And then we went through the long effort of trying to land an orbital booster.
had a lot of issues with these rockets. I wonder how much money he lost with all these rockets being destroyed. Trying. Shit, he made enough. It's crazy. You could just waste millions of dollars like that because you have so much capital.
So it wasn't easy figuring out how to land an orbital booster and then refly them. But then we got good at it after a while. Took many attempts from a very talented and dedicated team. And now we've got to the point where we take off and land and recover a booster every few days. By the way, is the noise behind me a little too loud? Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. All right. So I think it's always important to reflect upon the difficulty of achieving things, because when we were trying to land the booster, no one really believed that we could succeed. And I was told by so many experts in the aerospace industry that you're not going to succeed in doing this, and even if you do, no one's going to buy a rocket that was a used rocket, essentially, which really makes no sense because airplanes are reflown all the time. And frankly, I'd rather be on the 1,000th flight of an aircraft than its first flight. So we changed the nomenclature to flight proven booster, which is true. So managed to do Falcon Heavy, which is the most powerful rocket in the world before Starship. Operational, at least. Yep. And yeah, it's amazing to think that we've got our 700th flight coming up. So just a huge testament to the incredible work of the Falcon team and the launch team, manufacturing team. I would just like to give everyone a hand for doing such an amazing job.
If you're not familiar with what that is, that's SpaceX Starship 36. It's scheduled to launch later this month, so they set up a static fire test in Starbase, Texas. Upon doing that, it exploded into pieces. You heard what I said. It exploded into pieces. The video is incredible to watch. Take a look at this. Check this out. Probably. Flash warning.
I mean, even the other day when they... Whoa!
Wow.
That's not good.
No, that's not good at all. Unbelievable. The explosion was so intense, it sent a massive fireball into the sky that could be seen for miles. There were no reported injuries, thankfully, at this time. Engineers were conducting at the time a routine fire test of
Elon is about to crash a rocket into the moon, literally tomorrow. And out of nowhere, we get hit with stories like this. Ukrainian scientists claim to have observed over 20 UAP on the moon. So my question is, what is going on here? Coincidence? Maybe. Or is there more to these stories than we're being told?
Thank you guys for joining me for another banger here at the OG community. You know how we bringing them. We got something different every day. Something for everybody. This is an agenda-free channel. We just here to bring the information and discuss it amongst our peers. Well, until the next video, peace and love.